We are Brightside Home Theater.
Hey, home theater nerds. I got a hard drive. Hey, home theater nerds. Welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast. The home theater podcast, it's all about the experiences, the sights,
the sounds,
the scenes.
I wanted to make 5 o'clock deadline, like dead on, but literally 3 o'clock this morning. First and foremost, Joe Hostel, my IT guy, call him my IT guy. We wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for him. Literally, everything went. Hard drive, crapped out, everything. And I don't want to get into it too much because we got a bunch of fun stuff to do. But 9:30, 10 o'clock last night, I texted him with a picture of my screen. And I went, what's this? He literally pulled over on the side of the road and walked me through it for like 3 hours.
Wow.
And but here's the funny thing. He goes, well, you're going to have to get to the store and get yourself a hard drive. And right here in my drawers underneath the desk, which he's seen everything because we were FaceTiming the whole thing. He's like, I go, brand new, unopened hard drive sitting there waiting to go because a while ago, like 2 years ago when this happened, Joe's like, we're going to set up a RAID array so that, and he told me everything to get. Well, I have it, but we never set up the RAID array so this doesn't happen. So it not only that, it fried my TV, so I had to put a new TV in. We've got other issues here. I don't know. So how was your vacation, guys?
It was better than yours.
Yeah. Yeah, goodness me. Never mind. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised, DJ. I sort of half expected to see you broadcasting from the log, in the middle of the woods with the, with a little bit of tape for here's where the speaker's going to be, and here's where the screen's going to be, and Bigfoot in the background,
Yeah, I did that, and I'll get to that. That is my experiences for the past 2 weeks. A lot has happened. You guys know a lot has happened since we chatted and did a live stream. I'll sum it up quickly here, but we are in the tunnel, guys. Deep in the tunnel. We're having a good time. So, yeah. Okay, John, any jokes on this?
No.
Let's see. What do we got? Mikey Schramm's in the chat. Steve Carl, Jordan. Hi, guys. How you doing? A lot of people in the chat, actually. They're not just these guys. So where is everybody? Glad. Oh, there we go. What did you break again, DJ? I didn't break anything. Yeah. And Steve, you guys are great. And I came back in the house right away. I was on my way out the door because I worked this morning and in here until about 10, then got off to work. But I saw John's text and I'm like, Jen and I, when I finally came to bed last night, Jen's like, we were laughing, like, why can't you just be like John? Just be like, whatever. We'll do it. We'll take the week off. We'll fix it later. And we were laughing because and John, no, that's just not me. It's just, I'm like, I can't sleep till the problem is solved. And I was on, I was on with Adobe last night because you have to redo your whole infrastructure and everything. I was on with Adobe and, my sign-in name, my name, I couldn't figure out how to get, and it's dumb stuff. But anyways, the name that I had under Adobe was Bright Side because it auto-filled it instead of using my name, David Briggs. But my Adobe account, which they take money from every month, is David Briggs, of course, right? So they're like, what's your name? I'm like, David Briggs. And they're like, nope, that's incorrect. Like a half hour, we're yelling at each other through text. And I'm like, it's David Briggs. It's on the bill. I'm David Briggs. Well, sir, we might have to file this as a fraudulent account. I was like, I just couldn't get into an account. I was on another account and I'm talking to them and I finally figured out how to get into it, and dumbass stupid thing. that we all do. It's like when you're behind your rack and you've got your little pen out and you're looking around, you know, you're like, anyways.
Well, some of us have our pen out.
Hey, I don't want to hear anything from you two.
It didn't break until today. You had 2 whole weeks.
No. And your stuff just came in on Friday that I'm shipping out to you. Okay? So shut up.
Sure. I'll believe it when I see it.
When you get your package, you're going to be eating a lot of crow. So shut up.
That's a strange thing to send.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it fried or is it?
Yeah. Feral hog, sure.
Is it jerky?
Crow?
Exactly.
I do. Oh my God.
Somebody's testy, Steve.
Yeah.
I finally
Someone's been up since 3 a.m.
Mr. Brightside.
No, I went to bed at 3. I was up at 7. 7:30. I slept in a little. Sleep. All right, enough on that crap. I gotta catch up on. Oh, and thanks to G Cornell. Perfect timing. Could you produce this in YouTube, because the audio was a little bit off, and I'd like to have it as a subtitles or whatever. I'm like, no. Love you, G. I'm like, of all times, I'm like, all the crap that's going on. It's like, hey, it's not up to your usual standards. Yeah, thanks. Pending donation. Let me get these out. I don't have any images today. We're gonna scroll through when we get to. We're just gonna literally screen grab the notes, and we're gonna go through that way. Joe Laffoon, box of popcorn. Thank you very much. Let me see who else. Chris.
Let me just tweak
I have
the
to
bear
open
a
the
minute.
notes then, huh?
Yeah, let me just tweak the bear a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, that's just me yelling. Probably. I mean, I can back it off, but it's probably just me yelling into my mic.
This is just for those listening. Yeah, Paul saying, "Hey DJ, you sound like your mic is maybe 6 dB too quiet. Yell louder, DJ."
Too quiet. Oh,
can you see it? Can you see that? Yeah. Can you see? No. It said Paul. Yeah.
Yeah. I read it wrong. So let me let me see what my audio is. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. How's that? Is that better?
It sounded fine to me before. Yeah.
I know. I think you and we all hear it fine, but on their end, I don't know. It probably levelizes it for them. If you need to be louder, DJ. Oh no. I don't think John wants that.
Paul, you've not encountered Dark Side DJ. Don't upset him.
Yeah. No.
Don't poke the cocaine bear.
Yeah. Oh God, if I ever did that. Man. Dan Carpenter with a $20 box of popcorn. Thank you very much, buddy. Let's see. I think that was it between if I forgot you or I thought I saved everything here, but I lost a bunch. I apologize, but we greatly appreciate it as I'm buying crap left and right now. Loving the new TV though, I think. I don't know. We'll get there. And we also have, let me see here. We got another donation that came in from, there we go. It says donation and question. Hi, DJ. Another donation and question from avscience.com for each of the hosts. What was the best home theater experience you have ever had? Audio, video, and room presentation combined. Was it in a home, at a showroom, or a trade show? Do you remember what you watched? Thanks, Mike, Craig, and Jeff from avscience.com. So another donation came in for this. Obviously, I think that's going to be the way we're going from now on. It's like you're guaranteed to get in the show if you make a donation and send a note, especially if I have all my ducks in a row on that week. So guys, let's get to this right now. Who wants to go first? I know mine. I want to see if you guys can guess it.
Oh,
Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, or Terminator 2, I'm going with. That's for you, Deej, I'm assuming.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's easy. Right.
It's one of
Moving on.
Moving on. But what was yours, Steve?
So mine, because I thought long and hard about this, and I've had plenty of time to do so, because of course we've had the break in between.
Ago, yeah.
I guess I should read these ahead of time then, because I'm not prepared. I didn't do my homework.
I knew mine right away, and it's like I don't have to think long and hard. And that's what I like about stuff like this. Like, John, if you're just seeing it first, it's like whatever jumps to mind is usually what it is. It's when you think long and hard is when you kind of overthink it, and you might be like, oh yeah, but what about that? Oh, and then that one too. But it's what comes to mind first.
You're saying I shouldn't have typed 400 pages in response. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, I'll be back.
I do have one, but I don't know if it counts.
Oh, it all counts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So my one, I'll just quickly get mine, because the fruits of my labour of thinking of all this is something I have said before on the podcast. So apologies for those who've heard this before. But for me, the one I came up with was Cinema George. This iteration of it, my first experience of it, because in the past, of course, I've built them bit by bit, and then just kind of enjoyed it as it was built. But this one, having been completely installed fresh, meant that I experienced the finished product all in one go. And that was when I heard it before it was running, before I'd seen it. I could feel the bass and could hear the bass, and then walked into the room as it now is and could see 4K for the very first time, 4K HDR, and heard Dolby Atmos. And this was the film notwithstanding, Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, which they, for some reason, had decided to demo first when they were setting up the sound, but walked into that and saw the Warner's logo for the first time in resplendent HDR, and it just looked fantastic. And then the movie began, and it's a proper Dolby Atmos demo sequence right from the beginning. The room was moving, and I was moved as well. So that's the one for me, because it was the first time seeing what I'd spent all this damn money on. It was very cool, and something that I'd had in my mind for years, and suddenly there it was.
Yeah, isn't that cool. Like great when you like the realization of your visions, your ideas, everything that you wanted? Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, John.
Okay, well, the one that pops to mind, this is absolutely my favorite experience. It may not be the best experience I've ever had technically, but it surprise, it is Star Wars: A New Hope. But it was the viewing at the Houston Symphony with the live orchestra. And to me, that was it was an unbelievable experience to have live music accompanying the movies. Yeah. I mean, it was a screen size, it was a movie theater screen size. It wasn't IMAX, but it was pretty large. But that's the best experience I've ever had. Like I had seen, and I have seen since A New Hope a billion times, but that was my favorite viewing ever was at that symphony with the live orchestra. It was just incredible. Really kicking myself that I never got back to see the other two. They haven't been back in several years, and I did miss the other two movies. But yeah, it was great. So
yeah, that's awesome. Can you get them to play in your home?
Yeah, yeah. Because I have a bigger screen now at home, so
you got like I said, out front there.
It may not technically be the best experience, but it's my favorite experience. So.
Yeah. I mean, you can't beat a live presentation of, and as the movie was playing.
Yeah, it was wherever you would hear it was the score. So whenever, I mean, literally from minute 1 to minute, 120 or whatever it is, it was live music, a live score. So it was awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Here's a man after your own heart, Deej. Just quickly, we got Theo M. Says his one is Terminator. When I heard those laser blasts at the start and crushing the skull, I'm assuming that's Terminator 2. I mean, it might be 1 because it happens in 1. Yeah, but 2 has that, where the Terminator looks at the screen and then the T-800 and then it just goes like that, which is brilliant. So I don't know whether he means 1 or 2, but nice choice, Theo.
Yep. Let me see if I have any others. I got Mikey. Mikey had
the Balrog scene.
Balrog scene, Fellowship of the Ring at Barrett's home theater showroom. That's cool. And then Carl, 1999-ish Iron Giant DVD with 13 friends over for dinner and a very late night screening. Great movie, but that's also fun too when you had a bunch of people in and everybody's just, enjoying the like home theater experience, and then you as the home theater owner get to sit around and go, yeah. That's what we like to do. And we just talked about Theo's. What is it? Brock Star. Let's see. Is this one? M-Wave HT Tour in 2022. 3 separate home theaters, 1 basement with 12 plus subs, near field and actuators. Wow. Kansas City guys are next level. Let's see. Yeah. So mine is that experience. I wish I could remember where it was, what store it was at, but it was when I saw that, when I saw the Terminator 2 scene, and that pan across the front when the door gets, that I've used and talked about here over and over. It was probably, almost 20 years of me constantly testing, seeing if I got there. And I never did. Well, I did. I'm there now. But when you finally, and now, did I really get there? Or has it just been so long that I'm like, wow, that is really good. That must be as good as it was. But it went something like that was just so, like, just jumped right out at me, and made me want that over and over again. It's like, and that was a home theater experience. I mean, the only thing I could equate it to otherwise was like going to a Dolby Cinema and getting the bass and wanting to duplicate that in your theater. And then you get to your theater and, not until you get dual SVS subs running, I was like, all right, I'm there. But that Terminator 2 scene, that had me working really hard for 20 years trying to get that separation and clarity and everything. So that was the best experience. And it wasn't Atmos that back then, but it still was really good. Let's see. What do we got here? Only one. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. So Steve says, I have no idea. I think every movie I watch or rewatch is a new experience. Hard for me to compare. Only seen one other HT setup, and it was just the room. No demo. Not sure it's even used. Well, that's too bad. But that's also another thing too, is like when you get a new piece, and that's what I was doing with the Terminator scene for like 20 years. It's like every time I upgraded, am I there yet? And you're checking your system. But Steve, get out and see some other systems, because that's how you either confirm your system or you realize, there's room for improvement. And that's how we grow. That's how you learn too. All right. Good question. Great question. Another great question from AV Science. Yeah. Let's see. What else do we got, guys? You scrolling through the notes there, boys?
No.
Let's see. Oh, we got
what movie? I don't know what's new, and is everything new? Like,
we'll move
some of these notes.
We can move those to the end. You ready to get to our experiences?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
All right. I know you are. So, all right, let's get to our home theater experiences for the vacation. All right. Well, I'm going to let you lead off here, Steve. Let me see if I can get this. There. Is that good?
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah.
The only thing is, there it goes.
You can see next week. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we
That's
go.
it. People can see then the timestamps as well. So people can then, if they don't take notes, they can get it anyway.
Yes.
Okay. So this then is Evil Dead Rise. And this, hands down, for me, as I had hoped that it would be when I first mentioned that I'd seen a screener of it months and months ago. This, for me, by far, is my favorite home theater experience of the year so far. It is fantastic. great film, really good film. For those, you and I, and all three of us actually had a chat after the show a couple of weeks back about whether or not it's a film that everybody ought to see, because it's very violent, it's very gory, and it's over the top. But it's a great film if you like that kind of stuff, and I happen to. So that's good news. But in terms of the HT presentation, the home theater presentation, it is a true demo disc from start to finish. Video-wise, yep, absolutely fine. No problems with that at all. It looks fantastic. It's a film that's been shot with HDR and 4K in mind. So you've got very, very dark blacks that don't crush. You've got very, bright whites, bright highlights. You've got blood and guts and lighting, and it's all mainly set at night anyway. And it's all been shot in that way. So it's very, very cool. So that's great. But the main thing, the one thing that everybody should, if you can stomach this sort of film, is the audio. So now what I've put in the notes there, and you can see it actually on the screen, is the first thing to tell you is this is one of those Warner's discs that, for reasons that escape me, defaults to Dolby Digital. Not DTS HD, not Master Audio, but Dolby Digital 5.1. So anyone, I don't know whether the US disc does. I don't know if anyone in the chat has got it and can confirm this, but certainly the UK one does. So just be careful, ladies and gents. If you do get this disc, do what everyone should do when you start a film anyway, is check what is actually shown, whether you look on your receiver or bring up the information on screen. I bring it up on screen, but always check, because if I hadn't done that, I'd have watched this in Dolby Digital and I would not have been amused. So for that's your first thing. Make sure you select Atmos. It doesn't default to it. And then sit yourself down, pin your ears back, and prepare for awesomeness, because that's what you get from second one to the very end of this film. I can't convey to you, my vocabulary isn't good enough to convey just how good a sonic experience, not the Hedgehog.
And that says a
this
lot.
is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can talk for England, as you well know.
Yeah.
But this is absolutely fantastic. So in terms of timestamps, the very first one is 0020 seconds, not minutes, 0020 seconds. So I should have put an extra couple of zeros into my timestamp there. It begins with a fly that moves around the room, which is an in joke with the series. There's always a fly in the Evil Dead series, and this begins with it, and you can hear it flying. Sorry to say, pun again, moving around the room before the movie really begins. So it begins with that. Then you get a punch with the LFE straight away. So the bass kicks in straight away. And there's a little intro sequence where something bad happens to someone, and I'm not going to tell you what that is. Spoiler free. But then what happens, and this is what I was telling you guys about a couple of weeks ago, and I got very excited. There is a drone shot that is then, or a drone is being used. Again, I'll try not to spoil that. So there's a drone being used, and the drone flies around the room, and it then comes to rest halfway up the right-hand side of the front right, as it were. And I swear to you, and I don't think this is my room, it might be, but I swear to you, the drone hovers in 3D space. And I mean, and in terms of audio, I've not encountered that before. As I said to you guys a couple of weeks ago, I genuinely felt, and I put it back and I watched it a couple of times, I genuinely felt that I could reach up and grab this drone because of where it sounded. I've not encountered that before. Such a discreet, floating sound. It was incredible. I was genuinely blown away by it. And that's it. 30 seconds or thereabout, 1 minute 30. You then get, and bear in mind, the whole movie is a demo. There are no quiet scenes in this. There's nothing that is worse than others. So I'm just picking out the highlights. And then the next one is at the 30-minute mark, I do believe. Yeah, it must be. I'm sorry, my numbers on there all over the place. Forgive me, guys. So at 0030 minutes, we then get an elevator scene, which is where the bad things really start to happen. And as I put in the notes there, that is a demo sequence. It is rocking. So you've got sound moving everywhere, bass absolutely pummeling as it should. There is noise, there are effects, there is absolutely everything. That is a demo sequence within a demo disc in and of itself. And then at 1 hour and 5 minutes, there's a crawl space scene where the overheads then get used in particular, where there is someone in the crawl space and you can hear them crawling above you and around you and all this stuff. It is absolutely phenomenal, this disc. And the only issue is it for you? And by you, Deej, by you I mean you, Deej. Is it for you or not? Because it's ultra gory. It is.
I don't
really,
mind gore.
really
ick. Yeah. I'm just.
Yeah, but that's the problem. We come back to that age-old issue of, is it worth seeing for the home theater experience? I mean, it is such a good disc, and it's not just me saying it. All the different reviewers. I mean, Ralph Potts absolutely loved it. I think Todd really didn't like the film, I don't think, but I think he liked the HT experience, probably for similar reasons to you, Deej, I think, in terms of the type of movie that it is. But it is an absolute class film. So if you think you'll like it, get it, and you can thank me afterwards. I love this. I really did, and I can't wait to watch it again. It's great.
After our conversation a couple of weeks ago, I was tempted. And honestly, I just can't right now. I don't know if you watched my video, but I'm like, or I don't know if it was the podcast or stuff, but I'm like, I don't have time. I'm like, I told you guys earlier, we'll talk about it when I get to my experiences, but I just don't have time. And I'm not complaining. Trust me, I'm not complaining. I'm having a blast. But yeah, and it's like, and for me to take a time out to do like this, where it's like, are you gonna like the movie? I'm like, I'm dying to get back, just especially after the last couple of days, sit down and watch Star Wars. Just relax. But
it depends on whether you're dying to watch people dying. Because if that's the case, then Evil Dead Rises is there.
Yeah, I know, and that's one of the things too. That's just not my genre, you know. It's like actually, you know what I am looking forward to though is that what is it? The new Exorcist coming out or something in October. It's based on. It's got the woman that was in The Exorcist.
Linda Blair.
Is it Linda Blair?
I thought it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Yeah. Because it's Reagan. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. And my daughter and I saw it at Oppenheimer, the trailer for it when we went to Oppenheimer, and we were just like, she was like, this looks like, she was so scared. I'm like, now that's a horror movie to me. That's like, I mean, they're nailing it, and it had the vibes, and it looks like a good, worthy sequel. So like, it's like, I'm not afraid of horror movies. It takes a little extra than just gore to entertain me. So.
Well, this is. There's no point me saying to you anything other than it's a full-on movie. You know, there are chainsaws, there are chippers, wood chippers. You know, it is every bit as violent and as gory as Evil Dead Rise suggests. But tacked onto that genre movie. We've talked before about there are genres of horror within horror. Now, you've got your supernatural horror, you've got your stalk and slash, you've got your elevated horror, all that stuff. And this is genre horror all day long. But tacked onto that is a literal state-of-the-art home theater experience. And so that's the problem. If it was an all right disc, then we just move on. But because it's so good, and as I said, that drone thing in particular, I'll be so curious to know whether other people have experienced that as well. I've never had that thing where I could genuinely feel like I could grab it because of how localized in the 3D space it was.
Yeah,
it's incredible. So John, you just got to see it at some point, just so you can tell me.
I will for sure.
That's what I.
So I know I'm not just freaking out.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about it, that's on the Spears and Munsell disc. That there's a demo for that, and I think it's a ball or something that moves like moves around, or however it moves, you can hear it, and it goes where there are no speakers. Like it hovers in front of you if you're, so it's to demonstrate if your speakers are set up, correctly, if they're tuned correctly and everything. So Yeah, that's the idea of object based. They don't. It's you can manipulate the sound like that. I mean, you can do it in 5.1 too, but it's a little harder.
Yeah, well, what I've kind of become used to with Dolby Atmos, not only the overheads, but just the sense of envelopment with Atmos and DTSX as well. It's this sense of the walls move out, the ceiling goes up, and you're just surrounded by this crystal clear sound. You know, they talk about this hemisphere effect, don't they? Or this sphere effect. Yeah. And that's what I've become used to with Dolby Atmos in the right way. You know, I think. Whereas, so it's really interesting and exciting, sad as that may sound, when suddenly something different comes out, something so beyond what we've had before. And of course, I'd seen 300 the week before and really liked that. But there are just things in this that just are a step beyond. That's why I said state of the art. You know, someone somewhere has done something with this disc that, because I didn't see it in theater, so I don't know whether it's the same in there, but someone somewhere has done something with this disc that I've personally, and it's only my opinion, have never experienced before. So it is really, really good. But anyway, I'll stop banging on about it now.
Nice.
Because I did say on Twitter there was going to be a rave review, and this is about as raving as I get.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's your home theater experience of the year.
Home run for sure. Yeah, all day long. Yeah.
Oh, well, wait until you see Oppenheimer.
What's that? What's that film? Is that some sort of little art house movie? I've never heard of it.
Little venture by this little unknown director.
Up and coming director, yeah.
Up and coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So actually, I'll add that in. I'll talk about
just
that.
whilst you're finding that. Jordan says in the chat, just to give you a few minutes, Deej, to find what you need to. So, so Jordan says, so a great Evil Dead film and an incredible 4K disc release. So shame the US release didn't include the extras on the UK release. Do you know what, guys? That is something that I don't know about you guys, I don't think we ever really talk about extras because I personally never watched them. I can't remember the last time I watched any. I genuinely can't recall either a commentary or a making of or deleted scenes. I just don't do it. I haven't got the time, I don't think. And so, but that's interesting. So if there are differences between the two discs, then that's a shame. I wasn't aware of that, and perhaps worth bearing in mind. Then again, those that are thinking of getting it, and if you want the extras, you might have to import it. But it's worth it. It's great.
I love the extras. That's one of my favorite things going back to Laserdisc days, because Laserdiscs were the only ones that had it. Obviously you don't get any extras on a VHS tape unless they put bloopers at the end of the VHS, right? And it's just, you let it ride. But yeah, I loved all that stuff, the audio commentaries and stuff. It's one of those things that, I told you the story that probably one of the most recent ones when I was watching Thor, and I think it was Thor Ragnarok, and I was watching the extras on it. I was listening to the audio commentary with what's his name, Taika Waititi.
Yeah,
from Kiwi.
Yeah, well that's what's amazing. Listen to this. I swear I told you this, Steve, about the cars in the movie. So all the cars in the movie are named, or the ships or something are named after cars from New Zealand. And
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, Christian's going to kill me. I can't remember the name of his car. Name a car from New Zealand, like a famous a Healy, not a Healy, not a
Austin Healy. There's an Austin Healy. There's a Lancer, Mitsubishi Lancer. There are. Oh my God. Bear in mind, I was 9 when I left. Deej.
Yeah. But anyways,
I can tell you about the Hot Wheels cars.
Right.
It was a snowy morning, and it was a Sunday morning, and I was going over to my wife's cousin's house. Well, cousin-in-law, I guess. He's from New Zealand, grew up there. And I was going to work on his car because in his garage, and I got up and I was watching this. It just happened to be watching this. And he tells me the names of the car, and one of them, the names, and it's an obscure car from New Zealand I'm about to go work on. And that's what, Taika Waititi's talking about. And I get over there and I tell Christian, I'm like, oh my God. He was like, oh yeah. Oh my God, it's killing me, the name of his car. the kind of car it is. And now he has 2 of them. And the car that he has, it's the one he grew up at. He got his first car over there, and it's from the 80s. And yeah, you'd know it if you saw it and everything.
I'm sure I would if they said
no. Not
No.
enough, and I can't think of it. It's killing me. I'll know.
Hobbitmobile.
No. But yeah, I love extras. I love the extras.
I did back in the
time.
back in the DVD days when I had a portable DVD player. I mean, I had 3 of them during the lifetime of my DVD collection, and I would take it with me wherever I went. And so at lunchtimes at the firm or wherever, I would listen to the commentaries or watch the documentaries. And one of the best ones was the Terminator 2 Blu-ray that they did, the Skynet edition, which had just everything on this. I mean, it was basically a movie education in a box. And I would watch them and I'd listen to them and I used to devour those. They were great. But since Blu-ray and, I've not got a portable Blu-ray player, since then I've just stopped. And even movies that I really, really enjoy, I just never, ever get around to watching them. So there's so many. And I watch the movie goes back on the shelf, and that's it. Even to the point where, obviously I put them in their cardboard sleeves. More often than not, if you get a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc, and the Blu-ray's got the extras, the Blu-ray goes up in the attic, and I just stick with the 4K disc. And that happens again and again and again. Which is a shame because, of course, a lot of work goes into them. I genuinely just don't. I couldn't care less about the extras personally. Looks good, sounds good. That's fine by me. But I get that a lot of people really do like them. And again, actually, Paul Hertz just saying in the chat, I see that there. I was
just going to put that.
Quick on the draw. So he's just saying, extras, yes, please. Who's got the original Iron Man Blu-ray? Wish they put much effort in nowadays. There's been a lot of talk, hasn't there, about the dearth of extras on new movies these days. But then I suppose that comes from them not wanting to spend the money on them and, and all the stuff that comes from that. But yeah, so personally, I don't care, but I know that there are people that do, and I get that. And to a lot of people, that's the added value of home theater and home video that you don't get in commercial cinemas. But for me, I get it, but it's fine.
John, did you watch the extras when we had Laserdiscs and stuff?
I did back in the day, but I'm kind of like Steve now. The only extras I've watched in the last 20 years were probably the ones from the Skywalker box set during the pandemic. I watched all those movies and I did watch all the extras because they were mostly deleted scenes that I hadn't seen before. But yeah, I'm the same. I don't really watch the audio commentaries or I guess listen to the audio commentaries or watch any of the extras either. Same thing. The movie finishes, it goes back in the box and something else goes in or it gets switched over to something else. So
what I find funny is, and that's why I was asking if you watched a bunch with Laserdiscs, is it seems like YouTube is loaded with all the stuff we watched in the 90s.
Right.
And I've had since starting the podcast. Have you ever seen this? I'm like, I wish my Laserdisc player was going. I'd be like, here it is. I seen it. And it's like it's all stuff that we've watched, and it's like, oh, look at it's all new on YouTube, and it's like, and that was nice about the Skywalker edition is that we did the saga or whatever. There was some fresh stuff in there that we hadn't.
I had never seen.
Yeah. And
because I feel like I've seen most documentaries and things that had to do with Star Wars, especially back in the day, because you were ravenous for anything Star Wars. So if something came out, you watched it. But
especially back then, it was like every time a new disc came out, like Laserdisc, it was like, oh, it's got new extras on it. It was literally fresh to us because nobody had extras, you know. And and then when DVD came out, I think the masses got exposed to the extras, and I've had a lot of requests since starting the pod. You should do more about extras, and I'm like, I know, I love it, but it's like, how do you
there's only so much time in a week.
But it is something that I should get back to, because I do love doing it, and it's not a bad thing to do. It's just be like, you guys watch a movie, I'll watch, take 2 hours and watch an audio commentary and give my notes. But yeah, I should do that because I do love doing it, and there is a lot. There's some better directors than others. Cameron's really good. Taika Waititi's super entertaining. He's so funny. Trying to think of some other great one. Spielberg, if you can get him to do it. Ron
traditionally,
Howard.
does he not do them? I thought Spielberg didn't like doing them because he says it ruins the magic of the movie.
Yeah,
famously, what's his face? Who was the the director of The Usual Suspects? Now a bit of a
oh yeah, no, it's what's his name?
Bad Hat Harry Productions. Oh my God, brain's gone dead. But he's the
we'll
he
get it
famous
in the show, the chat.
Yeah, well, yeah, someone do, please do. He famously
It's not
said
Snyder?
No. It's he's not working anymore because he's under a bit of a thing. It's the what's his name? I can't. Anyway, he's a massive Jaws fan, and he has and his production company called Bad Hat Harry Productions, based on what was said in Jaws. And he was talking about how he couldn't.
John
Brian
Johnson,
Singer, Brain Singer,
Brian Singer, not Brain Singer.
Brain Singer. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, John. Thank you. It's just my ears were running more of my brains. Brain Singer. And he famously talked about watching Jaws with Spielberg. And Spielberg then talking him through every little bit of it and saying it was one of the greatest experiences of his life, because Spielberg famously doesn't do them. So, which I think is a shame, because that would be one worth listening to.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked Brian Singer's stuff too back then. He was really good.
He's not working anymore.
No.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, John's in the chat. Thanks, John, for today's podcast. That we recorded that over like a week ago, I think. Got a lot of comments already from people, and they're like, "Wow, what an interesting life he's led." And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "It's we stopped recording, and then I was starving. I can't remember. Oh, I told him when we started. I'm like, I got a hard out at 6:00, like 2 hours. I'm like, I gotta go because I had promised my wife, and we stopped recording, and I'm 45 minutes later, I go up to my wife. Oh, I'm sorry. She goes, I know. Oh, it's great. It was great. What a great conversation. Did you guys get to hear it?
I've heard about half an hour of it so far. I only realized it when you put it up this evening. I only realized that it was then. Otherwise, I would have been listening to it all day. John's he's a great guy, and again, quite good. The very first person that's been on the podcast that I've met in person.
Oh,
so
I've met John.
Well, for me though, it's the very first time. This is, as far as I'm concerned, you two are the entity. John, I know, is in real life, so it's all good.
There you go. Yeah, I haven't had a chance yet.
He talks in the thing about people inviting him for lunch, and John keeps inviting me to lunch in London next time I go.
Yeah,
it's rubbed off on him.
I'm not a lunch guy, but I'm dying to have lunch. Sounds great. But John and I have kind of gone on a tangent since recording, and like a lot of our conversation afterwards, and we've both seen Oppenheimer a couple times since, and every time with the long texts of like, oh my God, Big Bang Theory. And like, and every time I try to bring it up to somebody else, talk about their eyes glazing over, DJ, I just don't give a crap. It's like, no, but it's really interesting. No, it's not. No, it is. Oh, but yeah.
Just before we move on very quickly, because Michael O. Michael new? Do we know Michael O? I think he might be.
It looks familiar. Looks new. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, Michael just he dropped it in a few minutes ago. I just wanted to say thanks. Yes. He said, Steve, thanks for the recommendation on the movie Upgrade. Really enjoyed it. My pleasure, Michael. I mean, yeah, it is a fantastic movie. And one I still haven't imported the 4K disc, so I need to do that. So yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And anyone that hasn't seen it, that is one that everybody should see.
Yeah, I have that one. I've had that one since
for ages.
And you guys have seen it on the Kaleidoscape since, and it's like a listener told me about it and said I'd really enjoy it. Grabbed it, of course, and it's still sitting there. So,
it's kind of a cross between sort of
Johnny Speakers messaged me today. He's like, really enjoyed John's episode today. And I'm like, Johnny Speakers, he messaged me today. And he's like, I've got so much more information now after listening to that podcast, so much more knowledge. It's like yeah, that's great. It is. All right. John, you ready for your first? I mean, Now we're
Sure.
on to our second HT experience of the week.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Well, I'll let you guys know up front. I'm not nearly as excited about this as Steve was about Evil Dead Rise.
Well, I mean,
Although it would be hard to be that excited about anything. But
I was just going to say, John, I don't think it's suitable for this family-friendly podcast
Right.
for you to talk about what would get you that excited.
yes, it's not a film. But yeah, for those that aren't watching live,
days.
I know. This was the second half, and I'm going to say that in quotes, of season 3 of The Witcher, dropped on Netflix this past Friday. I say in quotes because the first half of this was 5 episodes, which would lead one to believe the second half would also be 5 episodes. And it abruptly ended after 3. So I felt like a little shortchanged, to be honest with you. Because I didn't realize as I was watching it that it was the season finale. But yeah, it came back for basically 3 episodes. The home theater experience, much like the first half, was really, really good. In particular, episode 7, I felt like was really, really engaging with the surround channels and the height channels. Seemed like there was a lot of activity happening in episode 7. But, it was... all in all, a good season, story-wise. Again, for those that don't know, this was the last season for Henry Cavill, which is unfortunate because, like I said, I feel like this series is really starting to pick up and come into its own. The story is getting very interesting. Although The Witcher... being the title character is not actually the main character of this series. Ciri is the main character, and she will still be present, obviously. And there will be a Geralt in some fashion coming in season 4. But yeah, this was a pretty solid season. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I think the home theater experience for a streaming show was pretty high quality. Like I said, especially episode 7 of season 3. So...
Did you say there's a character in it called Siri?
Siri, yes, there is.
Does anybody in there say, "Hey Siri," and then the next thing you know, it's all going crazy?
No, they do not.
She didn't wake up.
It started.
It's kind of crappy.
I say, did it come on?
Yeah,
it did.
It's kind of funny though that they went 5 and 3. And
it is.
And you didn't know. And all I'm imagining is remember our discussion after Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
Right.
And I'm like, it's that old feeling we had back in the 80s. Like, they're not going to wrap this up in time. It's to be continued. And you just experienced the exact opposite.
It was the opposite, right? I thought I had 2 more episodes.
Quick. It's like,
and I was like,
nothing left.
I was like, whoa, we're here already? Like, what happened? I was like, what are they going to do next episode? And then there wasn't one. So,
nothing.
Yeah.
They're going to recast. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, they're going to recast Henry. So, which I really kind of expected that to happen, kind of a la Doctor Who, where we would get like a Tagger scene with Liam Hemsworth or something to explain that going forward. But spoilers,
is he the new
that
one?
didn't happen. It's one of the Hemsworths. I think it's Liam.
Yeah, it's Liam.
Yeah.
It is Liam, isn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's the new Witcher.
Oh, he wants to get all jacked up like his brother.
Yeah. And when I mentioned that to my wife, she was like, "Oh, well, he's handsome too." So I was like, "Okay." So she's okay with the whole thing of it, but I was kind of hoping for like a story segue that would explain the change, but maybe that'll come in the next, in season 4. But or it'll just be like Darren Stevens, and he'll be a new actor.
Yeah, there you go.
Or like Jonathan Kent, because I'm watching Lois and Superman now. It just dropped on Max, the latest season. And of course, they recast Jonathan Kent. And, there's no mention at all about why he's a completely different person.
Yeah, you look different.
Yeah.
Is it your hair?
So, you grew over the summer, John. None of that. So,
aged 50 years.
Yeah.
Let's see. How can I get this to line up right?
You're right. You're going. We're going Robert Redford Are we going up in the world?
There we go.
There it is. Okay, good stuff. Right, so next one then
This is old.
It is old, as is Robert Redford. This is the 2001 masterpiece. Yeah. I know, 2001. That is The Last Castle. This is on Blu-ray and in DTS HD. So it doesn't say that. It is master audio, though. So why this film? Well, because I only realized 2 weeks ago that it's on Blu-ray. I had the DVD, and I had the DVD for a long time, long since got rid of it, but I had it for ages. And I really like this film. And I've seen it more times than is decent. And I only found out because someone on Twitter put up a retrospective about it, a very short mention of it. And then I happened to respond, I wish it was on Blu-ray. And then one of my followers then tweeted back saying, it is, you idiot. Not so many words, and sent me a link. And turns out it is. So I ordered it that day and it arrived the next day and I rewatched it and really enjoyed it all over again. Nice. Have you guys both seen this? I'm assuming you have these with the wistful.
Ago, yeah, I have. Again, probably 2001, 2002.
Okay, I have the Laserdisc.
It's been a long time.
Like at the end of the Laserdisc life, I think. For some reason, I've had a few like Sneakers. That's another one. Robert Redford.
Well, this was. Yeah, well, this is a film I've always really enjoyed. Again, probably more than I should, because it had a very troubled production history, I've since discovered. And it was a movie that was messed around with endlessly in post-production and indeed during production. So anyway, really, really enjoyed the film. Movie about Robert Redford. He's a disgraced general who goes to a military prison, and then which, by the way, the prison is the same one as the Shawshank Redemption. It's the same building. And they anyway, and he encounters James Gandolfini, who is the prison warden. Has there ever been a good prison warden, by the way? Anyway, they're always bad, aren't they? And so that then
in
begins
the eyes of the prisoner, the people living outside the prison are pretty happy with him.
Well, I'm not sure we would in this case. Or indeed the Shawshank Redemption, for that matter.
Yeah.
So anyway, there then becomes a battle of wits between this general played by Robert Redford, James Gandolfini, and drama ensues. So I think it's really good. I really like it. You've got Mark Ruffalo in it as well, pre-Hulk. And it's a really solid movie. I really like it. So the Blu-ray. Very, very nice, actually. And I was intrigued as to how this would look. The movie seems almost entirely shot with split diopters. So there's endless split diopter shots, which of course means you get the sort of the kind of blurry bit in the middle, and that can make for quite a challenging video or home video experience. But it looks really good. It's detailed. It's got all the color saturation you'd want. There's no black crush. It looks really great. So that was nice. And bear in mind, it was a very cheap Blu-ray because it's been out for ages. And then you've got the audio. I've got some timestamps there as well, just to prove I'm paying attention. So we've got at 44 minutes, we've got what I call the dog tag welcome.
We were questioning you, Steve.
Yeah. Did you fall asleep during this?
Yeah. Do you even pay attention when you're watching?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, there you go. So 44 minutes, we've got the dog tag welcome. So as he is walking in, having done what he's done, that's Robert Redford, the prisoners start whacking their dog tags against the metal bars, and that fills the room, and you've got it all the way around. Now, of course, I upmix this to Neural X, obviously, and it fills the room, and you can hear what feels like distant tears, or tears as in the metal tears, not as in tears of the, anyway, and you could hear all that going around, and that's a really well done effect, and it beautifully upmixes to Neural X because of all the overheads. At 55 minutes, we've got a bulldozer wall sequence where you've got some decent bass. At 1:30, there is a tear shakedown. And again, you've got voices all around, screams and shouts and various things going on, which fills the room. And then at 1 hour 50 minutes, you then get a helicopter sequence where the helicopter is above you in the overheads and then all around you, moving around the room whilst the action is going on. It's actually a really solid Blu-ray, bearing in mind how old the movie is, bearing in mind it's not a top Cat AAA title, but but it's actually a really decent disc, and you can pick it up cheaply. I got this for about £6, so what's that, about $9, something like that. And for if you like the movie, and I do, it's a really worthy purchase. I would really recommend this. And it does have a scene. I don't know if you guys have this. It might not happen to you. It does to me. This is one of those films where there is a sequence where a character eats something, and it immediately makes me want to crave that thing. Okay. Now, there aren't many movies that does it. There are some. This is one of them where you've got James Gandolfini eating a sandwich, and it just looks so inviting that I, immediately crave a sandwich. The other ones is one in Big Trouble in Little China, where you've got him eating a hot dog at the beginning, Jack Burton, and that always makes me crave hot dogs. And just about any sequence in Ocean's 11, where Brad Pitt's eating constantly.
Yes.
But so this is one of those movies. But yeah, highly recommended. It's really good.
My screen's going
Deej?
funny. Yeah,
okay.
we're good. I think my screen just acted up.
Okay, and Jordan's just saying there again. He'd really like to see The Last Castle get a 4K disc. Yeah, I'd pick it up. Yeah, and again, if they put an object-based mix in there, I would pick that up as well for sure. But it's good. It is good. And Brockstar then, fair play, said, Steve, I watched The Last Castle last week because of your post. It was quite good. Come on, Brockstar, come on. Quite good. Come on, we mean very good, obviously. And I'd never heard of it. Yeah. I mean, it has been forgotten. I think it just kind of came and went in 2001, and it has been sort of largely, I think, forgotten since then. But, it's a worthy movie. So, yeah, and again, if you get a chance afterwards, look it up on IMDb and read all the various production issues and how not only did the story unfold in a different way, but the main characters changed their character arcs completely. They are exactly the opposite. So if you watch the movie and you want to look it up on IMDb, look at the trivia bit, and there's some very interesting stuff on there.
You know where a lot of that...
Right. Well, I just bought that one, so...
You know where a lot of that IMDb trivia comes from?
Is that from the extras? Is that from the extras, Deej? Yeah, but I can read it on that. I haven't got to sit through hours of it then. I get the edited highlights. The Cliff Notes version.
Yeah. It's like I've done that with different movies, and you go through and you're like, oh, yeah, that's in the extras. That's in the extras. That's... Yeah. And it's funny. People post it. The one that I'm... Speaking of... I'm not 100% sure on it yet, but it is in the IMDb extras. Somebody alerted me of it. In Oppenheimer, they wave flags, little tiny flag, like personal flags.
With too many stars.
How do they know?
Somebody had too much time on their hand.
Yeah, but it's not like you can pause the movie, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, and if you look at the two different patterns, they look exactly the same. It's not like you look at like...
There's this thing on the internet called torrent sites, DJ, and I don't know if you know, but you can legally obtain all kinds of media. So
surely not.
Surely not. But
did you say legally obtain?
Yeah.
It's actually, Steve, I don't know about your country, but suppose over here it's legal for you to buy it. It's illegal for you to sell it.
And download it and share it.
Yeah, it's illegal for you. It's legal for you to buy it. So that's how I got these.
Well, just on the food thing.
Coasters.
Oh yes,
those were like bootleg Star Wars DVDs back in like 1999.
Big Night, then, Steve.
I've never heard of that. There's a movie I haven't heard of. So Paul Hurt says, "Don't watch Big Night, then, Steve. The food is so good you'll end up craving an omelette." Ooh. Well, you can't make one of those without breaking some eggs.
Anything in the bear would qualify too, and I would caution you on what websites you visit if you have that issue, Steve.
It's only certain films. It's not everybody eating in every movie. There's just occasional movies where just the food looks so enticing,
looks good,
just immediately crave it. Yeah, I mean, the beginning of Big Trouble in Little China, when Jack Burton, Kurt Russell is eating the hot dog. I mean, that's junk food all day long. But I look at it and think, God, I feel like one of those. Every time. Never mind. Yeah, no, never heard of Big Night. That's a new one on me.
No, I haven't either. Yeah.
I think you've got insects in there, Deej, as well as water.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on?
All right. Did we talk about this one yet? Ever?
We haven't ever talked about it on here.
No, not on here. I've seen it 3 times now. Oppenheimer, and the latest time I saw it in 70 millimeter IMAX in Providence, and they give you, when you go in, they give you pieces of the film and everything. It was pretty cool.
Oh wow!
Both Jen and I got it, and I'm probably gonna mat it up with a poster. But this is definitely, I think nothing's gonna beat this. This is my movie of the year. I think it's gonna be the home theater experience of the year. If if Nolan's history plays out, which, I mean, name one of his movies that isn't a like demo disc of sound and or picture. And I'll say it up front, I am actually looking forward to the variable aspect ratio of this at home. Because I didn't know I thought the whole thing was shot in IMAX, and I believe it was, but they have a variable aspect ratio of it or something. But seeing it in 70 millimeter, and when it go in an IMAX theater, and when it goes to the full screen, it actually plays a part of the movie. The color plays a part of the movie. The black and white plays a part of the movie. And then the IMAX play a part in telling the story in this movie. And what's really cool is in like some of the regular scenes, like standard ratio, there's like not film grain, but like imperfections and stuff, like it's older footage, and it looks really, really nice, like dirt on this film, dirt on the screen. And then when they go to an IMAX shot, it is pristine. It just jumps out at you. And to the point, like sitting there watching it, I was like, do I watch this movie? Like, do I scooch my seat that much closer to the screen at home to get this experience? Because when you're that close to it, it's just, have either of you seen it yet?
I saw it. It's in my notes, dude.
Oh, okay. It is in your notes?
I haven't
It's
yet.
in the notes.
No, I didn't see it in your notes.
It should be the first one.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw it does say Oppenheimer. I did see John seen it.
Did you
I
not
haven't
put a
seen it yet,
picture with
though.
it? Maybe that's why I haven't seen it.
Did I?
And
I didn't put a picture with it. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I haven't seen it yet. I mean, John and I were talking just before the show started. I think I've missed the window now. I think I'll probably wait for 4K. Well, just kind of the buzz has been and is now fading, much like the aftershocks of a nuclear explosion. It's sort of starting to fade a bit
in the movie too. They do such a good job with that, right, John? It's like, I mean, it's not a spoiler to say that there's aftershocks, but there's different shots as they're testing, and they get further and further away, and they come at you with different timing, and you feel it. And it's what's funny is in the IMAX theater, it didn't feel as good as when I was up at Showcase Cinema Deluxe at their I can't remember what they call it, but their primal, their best theater. The bass in there was really nice, so I can't wait to get this at home. And I don't know. What do you think, John? We haven't talked about this at all.
We haven't talked about it. I've heard you talking about it, obviously, all over Twitter. If there's like an opposite end to the spectrum where you're at, I'm about halfway between them. I'm not saying I'm at the opposite end. I'm about halfway between them.
It's like, if there's an opposite end, which there is, I'm not there.
I'm not there. I'm like halfway in between. I really enjoyed the movie. I'll say that first. Like, I thought it was super interesting. Like, as I was telling Steve, it played a lot like a documentary. It was fairly historical, I thought, and there was a lot of information in there that I was not aware of, and I was riveted by the story of it. I did not see this in IMAX or 70 millimeter or any of that stuff. I saw it in a regular Cinemark theater. I thought the experience was still pretty good. I mean, it was a really good experience, and I do agree that this is going to be probably a phenomenal disc at home theater wise. For me, it's the rewatchability of it. Like, this is a Schindler's List kind of thing for me. Like, I just don't see myself sitting down and watching this movie multiple times even once a year or anything like that. I will get the disc and I'll watch it one more time for sure for the 4K and the home theater experience. But yeah, I found it to be pretty somber, obviously, and the subject matter wasn't super uplifting for me. So I just don't see myself watching it a lot. But I'm not going to take anything away from it. Like, I think it was definitely a fantastic movie. I think everybody involved deserves some kind of nomination for their performances. But I just can't see myself watching this over and over again at home. Because it's just pretty depressing.
It's so funny you say that too, because in the way you said over and over again, and that's why I have to watch this over and over again and one of the things that John and I have been talking about, John Thompson and I have been talking about since last week, is that every time you see it, you learn something else. There's more to it. There's more in just the way Nolan tells this story. And yeah, it is it's a down part in human history, but at the same time, like I said on Twitter, I'm like, there is a silver lining, and this stuff happens all the time, and we get through it as people. It's like you look at and Mikey. It's funny. Mikey Schramm contacted me when I put that out, and he's like, "Okay, no spoilers. Privately tell me about this silver lining thing, Deej." Right. And I see it. It's like, because you see what Oppenheimer goes through, what he goes through, what the people go through, why it happens, how it's happened before. Pay it, and when you watch the story over and over, and you see the repetitiveness of what is the cycle. It's just, we go through this, and I say we as in humans. We are just we are geniuses, but we are stupid, and then we come back to being geniuses, and then we're stupid, and And that's another thing I said about this, and I said it to Mikey too, is I'm like, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? Which is a huge part of physics and all of this, right? You do something brilliant or you do something great, there's going to be a negative side effect. You do something negative and there's going to be a positive side effect. And it's like, and I pointed to two things. It's like, we look here in this country at 9/11. And it's like, everybody said, what an awful, awful event. But at the same time, has the country never been closer? At the time, it's like,
I was going to say, yeah, but where are we now?
Exactly. And that's what I said to Mikey Schramm. And when he hears this, that's exactly what I said. And that's the wave. Bad. All of a sudden we get good. And what happens on the backside of that good, the country comes together, we come back down and we're completely separated. Go back to Pearl Harbor. Bad. Country comes together. We go into World War II, and, everybody feels this great sense of like country and community. And the backside of it is the 60s and the crap and the separation and all of the riots and the demonstrations that came out of that, because the country at that time felt separated. So it's like, do you see what I mean? It's like, and all of that comes from Nolan's storytelling, because you couldn't just tell Oppenheimer's story and get this conversation. It's that storytelling. It's the tech. It's the fact that he shot this and those explosions and everything. There's no CGI for that. It's like he just blew crap up and said, let's put a camera on it. There's so much to talk about with this. And and like I said, it's like, and then it ties into Big Bang Theory. It's like, but that's why it's like, I've seen it 3 times in the theater. Highly recommend, if tracking down a 70 millimeter, and the way I did it, I'm so happy I did it that way too. Kind of like if you read the book on something and then see the movie, that's usually the better, to me, that's the better way, because you get the idea, you get the story, and then you can watch the movie. This one here, seeing it twice in a, and as who somebody had it back here, I think it was Jordan said it. It's a X Plus Cinema, which is really good here. I've said it before on the podcast. I think they upgraded their projector. upgraded their sound. It was a really, really good experience there. Loved it. Saw it twice. I wasn't expecting much more of an improvement, and I was blown away by IMAX. And to the point that I'm like, do I start going down there now for all my movies? I'm like, because it's lit 20 minutes further away than this one, than the one I've been going to. So really, really impressed. And like I said,
how was the audio, Deej? How was the audio in the IMAX? Because obviously we talked a couple of weeks ago about issues.
It was really good. It was very, very good. And with Nolan and his dialogue issues, none. I actually
really, because I felt some in the beginning of this movie.
I did too. Not that it was bad. I mean, you could understand it, and it wasn't like Tenet. There is stuff in there that you go, "What did he say?" But it's just because there's so much loud. I felt like in X Plus that there was a little bit. It wasn't as crystal clear as you wanted, but it was still intelligible. At IMAX, at this particular theater in Providence Place, it was perfect. And I made note of that. I was like, wow, it is dead on. And the bass wasn't as punchy as I would have liked, but the sound was good. It wasn't that what we normally talk about, that IMAX over bloated, over loud, everything. Nope, not at all. It was very clear. Maybe not, like I said, not as bassy as I would have liked, but it was definitely, and that's coming from me. I never complain about bass, but having experienced it in X Plus, where you literally got the pressure when you were supposed to in the movie. But I didn't really notice that too much at the 70 millimeter, but that didn't deter from the experience, because it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, I think we'd had a long talk about IMAX issues, and so I think if there are good ones out there, and there clearly are, then we owe it to IMAX, don't we, to flag those up, because if it is good, then those are the ones people should be going to, rather than some of the less good ones that we've experienced.
It's tough though, because like Carl Rachichi he's in the chat, and he's been saying for years, like he goes to IMAXs all over the world, and he loves IMAX. He wants to design his home theater like an IMAX screen and sit on a beanbag and looking up. But that's the experience, right? So. But he's like, there are really good ones. And my thing has always been, it's not that there aren't good ones. It's just the inconsistency that you never know what you're going to get. Whereas Dolby Cinema, you could see a Dolby Cinema over there, Steve, or John in Texas, or me here, and we're going to get relatively the same experience. Right. And that's all you can, that's what we're asking and looking for in our own home theaters. We're trying to get that commonality so that we can all experience the same thing. And I think IMAX for sound anyways just hasn't nailed that down yet. They don't have any, consistency in their rooms. So, but yeah, there are good ones and there are bad ones. So, all right. Is that enough on that? Because I can keep going.
I think it's enough.
Well, so how many times have you seen Barbie? That's what I really want to know.
I'm supposed to see it with my daughter. She wants me to see it with her. And my daughter actually did the Barbie Oppenheimer duel in one day. She did it the day after we saw Oppenheimer on opening day. So, and she loved it. My son has seen Barbie and Oppenheimer. I haven't yet.
Well, I'm expecting to see pictures of you in a pink Brightside Home Theatre shirt, the pink jacket, pink cap, the whole works.
Should I put that up on TeePublic? The pink. Yeah. I don't think
it's got to be done.
Yeah, I'll look.
I mean, I think it's a matter of time before we design the Brightside Heimer shirt to have it, and then we can have the John Thompson had a great outfit going, and it was I don't do to take over Tuesdays videos because some people want to do them, some people don't. And I don't want people to feel like,
because once you do one, you'll be like, well, you'll know the people that don't, and that's not fair to them. So to keep it level, we just do audio only. And he was all done up, and he had on, you can hear it at the beginning. He's like, I'm like, is that an Indy hat or an Oppenheimer hat? And he was.
It's funny. He never asked me, Steve, if I wanted to go live on YouTube. I'm just putting that out there. Just 1 week we were live, and that was it. So
just assumed that you would say yes.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have, to be honest, if we were asked. But
did I do that to you?
You did.
No, I talked because I had gone.
No,
live
you did
over
not.
Here. No, but I had gone live over here, and then we did it on chat.
Yeah, it was on chat. It wasn't on this show, but.
Right.
I would have declined that option. So,
and yet here you are now. The camera
here I
loves
am
you,
now.
John. The camera loves you.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're a YouTube star.
Extra 10 pounds and all.
$10, surely.
Yeah,
How many cameras are on you?
Yeah, what is that? $12-13, Steve?
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. What do we got next here? Oh, that's for next.
That's next week. Yeah, we'll do that next week. That one.
All right. It's funny you guys could see me scrolling here.
Yeah.
Try.
Actually, we can't right now.
Oh, I can. I can see. I can see.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah.
That's weird.
We'll do those two together, Deej, if you like. The two Bruce Lee ones.
Yep. Let me.
Why am I not seeing it?
Oh crap! It just slid on me. Why?
It's a reaction thing, Deej. It's what it is. You're sort of doing the scroll wheel.
Quick, talk about it before it goes.
All right,
away.
go before it goes.
There
Okay,
we go.
so, alrighty. So I had a cheaper week last week than I expected, and I had some money left at the end of the week, and I did something that I said I wasn't going to do, which this show is proving to actually happens quite a lot, and that was this. I invested in the Bruce Lee at Golden Harvest box set, all £120 worth of it. So what's that, $140, $150?
About that, yeah.
Now, for that, in fact, I'll tell you what, because it's worth seeing. Give me 2 seconds, guys.
Nope.
Okay, for the sake of that, this monster is what you get. It is an absolute ginormous. I mean, talk about extras, Deej. These are the movies that you get with it. If I put that up there. And then you've got a 200-page booklet.
Sorry, you know what?
Got all this
Let me
stuff.
do this while you're doing that.
Go on. Yeah.
There we go.
So you get all of these movies as well, various cuts of the films. You get a 200-page booklet, a load of art cards and other tat. But it is an absolute monster of a set, as it should be, for £120. So
awesome.
I decided to invest in that, having said I wouldn't do it, because it has Enter the Dragon in it. But Enter the Dragon is on Blu-ray, and the rest are in 4K.
Is that the only one?
For that, yeah. I think Game of Death 2 is also on Blu-ray as well. But, Enter the Dragon's the one that we're all, jonesing for. But that comes out next week here, same as over there, I think, as well, as we'll probably discover in a bit if we get to 4K releases. But yeah, so Enter the Dragon's out next week. And initially, that's what put me off this set, because I wanted Enter the Dragon in 4K. But I decided to jump in. So I've now seen 2 of these movies, The Big Boss and also Fist of Fury. Not one of those movies you told me not to look up online, John. Completely different kind of film. So, family show. So, having seen them both, they are very, very, very good indeed. Now, I've seen these movies I dread to think how many times I've seen these films on VHS, on Blu-ray, on DVD, Blu-ray. I've seen it on everything, even the flick book. I think, I've seen them all. And so I know these movies well, and I know how they should look, and I know how they're supposed to sound. And I am very pleased to say that both The Big Boss and Fist of Fury look and sound exactly how you'd want them to sound and look. They've still got this 70s kind of, again, Golden Harvest, micro-budget aesthetic to them. But now they are pristine, so you don't get all the cigarette burns, you don't get all of the hairs in the gate, you don't get all of that issues. They've been very carefully and very meticulously remastered, and they look great. Now, the audio on The Big Boss is DTS HD mono, and then DTS HD stereo for Fist of Fury. And they sound exactly as you want them to sound. So you get the very, very 70s dialogue, you get very 70s kind of punches and noises and all the rest of it. And it's great. So I thoroughly enjoyed watching these two again. This is the way to see them. It is a ludicrously expensive set, but for me, if as a massive fan of this stuff, it was well worth it already. And I've only seen two of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies that are in this set, and already I am very, very glad I spent the money. It's great. So now the other reason I invested in this is it's already becoming a bit Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, it's already out of stock.
Hard to come by, and the price is going up. So I paid more than it was the week before. I think it was 120 on release, and I paid 130 for this. So it's already creeping up, and that's on Amazon. So they don't normally do that in my experience, but they are. So it's going to become hard to get a hold of, and I've got a horrible feeling this is the sort of set that's going to creep £200-300 before long, because there'll be people chasing it to try and get it. So I recommend it if you can find it for a decent price. But I loved it. And again, I haven't been into any of the extras on this. All of the movies have got multiple different cuts. There are international cuts. There's Japanese cuts. You've got the original Chinese cuts as well. There's and all of them, apart from Enter the Dragon and I think Game of Death 2, as I said, are in 4K as well. So these really hard to find, really rare alternate cuts have been remastered in 4K as well. So the Big Boss has got 3 different versions via seamless branching on this one disc. So it's stuff I've never seen before. And as a fan of this, that's all I want to see. It's great. So yeah, definitely recommended. Cost you the earth, second mortgage before long, I suspect, but very, very good indeed. And we're all martial arts fans here, and I'm sure we're all Bruce Lee fans, because that's where it started for all of us. I'm sure it did for me. And so the chance to now own these in this kind of edition is too good to pass up. But I appreciate it's a crazy price. But there we go. So recommended. It's really, really cool. And so that's both of them. There we go. Oh, so Paul says, I'm way more interested in the Bruce Lee set than I should be. It's just such an achievement. They've spent a lot of time and effort on this. There's no doubt about it. And this, by the way, will be one of those rare box sets that I actually put in the cinema room. This is going to go on the shelf. I can't in good conscience not display this. Yeah, I just can't.
Look at you.
Spent too much money on it.
What else has made the cut?
The Skywalker set, obviously, because that's a really nice thing, and the Ip Man set as well, because that's in a nice embossed kind of Chinese,
which is also like $300 now.
Yeah, well, quite. Yeah, so that's cool as well. So I can't not, I can't send these up into the attic. It wouldn't be right. It's crime against home cinema.
Yeah,
and I like to think I know a bit about crime.
And home cinema. So more about crime.
Yeah.
All right. We
just pop this back a minute.
What do we, John? You got one more? And
I've got one more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be quick, honestly.
Okay. All right. Let me get this thing lined up.
I'm curious about this, John. I want to know what you think of this, because I've heard not good things about this.
Really?
Yeah. So I'd be really curious to see what it was like.
Yeah. And here we go. The Crowded Room.
This is The Crowded Room on Apple TV. So it was in Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, for those that have Dolby Vision capability. This wrapped up this week. So episode 10 was the series finale. And as you would expect from Apple TV, the quality of this was fantastic. That being said, this is not an action series in any fashion. So the Atmos is discreet and very present. Like, you definitely you could feel it in a lot of scenes. There's some prison scenes where there's a lot of engagement with like surround channels and things like that, conversations happening all over, but there's no big car crashes and explosions and gunshots or anything like that.
Right.
But there is some really good use of discrete Atmos. But I added this, not so much for the home theater experience as just the story. I have heard the same as you, Steve, but I really enjoyed this show. Okay. I thought it was very well done. I thought Tom Holland was fantastic in this. Big departure for him from anything he's done before. Famously has taken time off from acting because of this role, because it took, quote unquote, took so much out of him. But yeah, he dug deep for this. For those that don't know, this is a semi-true story, and I say that because when this finished, I did go and look up the story of Billy Milligan, who's the character, or who's the real life person that this show was based on. And other than the fact that he was seeking treatment for multiple personalities and on trial, there is nothing similar from this show to what actually
inspired
happened.
By that.
Very much inspired, loosely based. But he did really, like I said, Tom Holland did an excellent job. He really dug deep. He had to obviously portray multiple characters and personalities. Amanda Seyfried was also very good in this. I think both of them did an excellent job. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It takes a little bit. I didn't really know what this was about when I started it. I've kind of given some information away that I didn't even know when I started watching it. And so seeing this unfold in the personalities and the way that this unfolds throughout the first couple of episodes, when you get about halfway into the series and you really figure out what's going on, it makes you really think back to everything that you've seen previously through a different lens and trying to work out, well, how is that happening? From another perspective. And that may sound a little convoluted, but it would become clear if you watched it. But yeah, I liked it, Steve. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it is not the story. I'm not going to say he's a heroic character, but he's a bit more sympathetic and lawful good, let's say, than the real life Billy Milligan was. While he suffered from the same issues, his crimes were a little bit more severe than what was being portrayed here on the show. So, Tom's a little bit more of a sympathetic character, I think, than the real life person would be. But still, when you take it through the lens of a disease and multiple personalities, you can't hold anybody truly at fault for those things, I guess. But yeah, like I said, I really put this on here because of the story. I thought it was really good. I think it was an interesting study into this. Famously, this was the first case that was ever tried in a court using the multiple personality defense. And so it was pretty interesting. And yeah, I don't know. I liked it.
Oh, well, on the back of that, I will definitely give it a go. I mean, it's a very, very difficult subject to stray into sensitively.
It is.
You can either go, you can go split, and do it that way and just go completely overboard, or you can go kind of this way. But it's very difficult for an actor, you can imagine, trying to portray that, because it's very sensitive. And in my work, I've encountered a number of people with split personality or multiple personality disorder, and it's very unnerving. Even having been doing this job for 23 years, it's genuinely creepy is the wrong word, because it's not fair, but it's unnerving. It's unsettling. It's really strange and a very difficult thing to do. So yeah, I wonder, right? Okay, I am kind of intrigued.
I thought the way they eased you into it in the early episodes was pretty interesting. And then, once you kind of get into the whole thing, it's his performance that stands out more than anything. I just thought he did a really good job. So,
man, that's awesome. Right. I that is on my list. I will do that just to, good old Paul. Paul Hurt, just to step back a minute, says, just FYI, Bruce Lee says sold out at Arrow in stock at Amazon UK, £130. That's what I paid, Paul, £130. And I've just done a DJ and ordered it. Have we got the cha-ching slide at the sound? Right.
Actually,
It is not in stock at Amazon US right now. I just checked myself. So
Is it been released over there though? Is it because I don't know whether it's only a UK
I don't know.
release.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It just shows unavailable.
Okay.
on
Yeah,
Amazon.
I think it's British. I think it's Arrow over in the UK.
Oh, it does
which would
say
mean that-
playback region 2. So
yeah, so that'll be the UK.
So it is actually not for us. So
And yet Arrow is an international studio.
Yeah, well, I'd be
you
interested
know what
to
I mean,
see-
a distributor. Yeah.
to see how that, because there's the couple movies that are not in 4K that we might not even be able to play because they're only on
Of course, for the
Blu-ray.
region lock Blu-ray. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I mean, it's bound to come out there. I cannot imagine the amount of money that they have spent on that set, the work that's gone into it, which
Right.
becomes obvious the second you play the first disc. There's no way they're going to just do that for the UK. It just
Right.
can't. So it'll hit there eventually, but it'll be $120, $130 when it does.
Right.
But pick it up if, as I know you guys are.
I do. I
like
love it.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth it for that alone. And again, although the extras, I think you're probably paying for there because of the amount of work and stuff that's gone into it. But yeah, it's very cool. So yeah, well done, Paul, and commiserations, Jordan. I think he's saying there that he's not been able to get the Bruce Lee 4K set yet, but keep going at it, Jordan. I know you. You'll definitely want it. So yeah, well worth it. Right, alrighty. Go on then, Deed. Show us your family photos.
yeah, there we go. You're giving it all away.
Oh, sorry. The HT experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, the HD experience is right. Let's see. Let me get to that one right there.
Oh, hold music.
Yeah, yeah.
Please hold.
Please hold.
Your call is important to us.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the video I put out, we closed since the last time we recorded. This is pretty much what my experience has been. So 2 weeks ago, Tuesday, whatever that date was, we closed on the land for the next Brightside Home Theater on that Thursday. So 2 days after our last recording, we closed on that. It was touch and go for a little bit, but we made it to the point that I even told you guys, I didn't want to jinx it. We were getting there, but then,
Right.
so we closed on that Thursday. So it's official. We own the land. And then, this past Sunday, I met on Friday, and this is pretty much what I've been doing because I'm the general contractor here, and it's literally in the closing. I'm the general contractor. I am the architect. I am this. It's and my wife has said stuff like, she's like, well, they said this. There's no they. We are the they, and this is legal stuff. And it's like, if we screw up, they're going to come after us and be like, you didn't do this right. You didn't do that right. And we've been to town meetings and seen what happens when people screw up building, especially in regards to wetlands. Thanks, Chris. Chris says, congratulations, DJ. So Friday, I met with the well company, and I met with my excavation guy that's going to be taking care of the big stuff. And I met with the well guy first, and he's like, all right, what we need to do here, he's like, we're going to put the well here. He goes, but this ground truck's not going to be able to make it here. You're going to have to bring in some material, and you're going to have to, solid this ground up a bit so the trucks don't get stuck. And I looked at him, and I was getting all excited. And I'm like, and if you're looking at this picture, there's a little John Deere tractor there, and I just got, because I'm building a house and I got enough land and I need a tractor. So I bought a tractor, and I'm like, I get to play. And that literally had just been dropped at my house on the Wednesday before this. So last Wednesday, I bought this tractor last January, thinking I was closing on the last piece of land that I had in March. And did we tell the listeners what happened in March?
I think we did.
Did we? About the salamanders?
Yeah.
So
I don't remember.
they put it on hold. The John Deere put that on hold for me. Everything was all set, and that tractor has been sitting at the John Deere dealership for pretty much 5 months, just sitting there waiting. And to the point, like when I went in on Monday to clear everything up and say, okay, and they're like, we're going to deliver it on Wednesday. And I'm like, okay. A couple of people came up to me and shook my hand. They took me in the back room, showed me the board, and it has David Briggs with a picture of a salamander with an arrow going to it, because they were like,
through its head.
Yeah, people are loving that story because everybody's like, I've never heard of that before. It's like they found a salamander on the property and it's like, stop everything. You can't build here. It's like, oh. So that's how we ended up here, which it all worked out because now I'm 2 miles away from my house. Literally they dropped this tractor at my house and I drove it down the road on Sunday, July 29th, so we could break ground and I could do all the things that I needed to do for the well guy. So we did this picture here. I made some shovels and wood burned onto them, the date and the family. So Briggs groundbreaking, 92 Martin Road is my address, everybody. July 29th. 2023, and all proud and everything, and then I proceeded to get stuck.
Well.
Yeah. So right where the bucket is on this thing is kind of where I don't think you can see the stake there, but that's where the well is going to be. But this is why I have to get this all solid. So I'm trying to pull where that bucket is. I'm just trying to pull the mud that's at that bucket level, but the whole front end, it's 4-wheel drive. The whole thing just sunk. It just went and just ground itself right into the ground. And my son's standing there and we're laughing. And I'm just like, now I've operated machines before. I know, like, you don't need to pull these things out. You can crawl yourself out of it, but this is literally the first time I'm playing with this thing. And I just said to my son, I go get the truck. My truck's over in the back there. I'm like, we'll pull it out with the chains. And he's like, what are we going to attach it to? I'm just get the truck. But after this picture was taken, you drop the bucket, it pulls the front end out. I had people tell me, I texted a bunch of people and my son texted the hockey team. They're like, get that thing out of the water, put the bucket down. We're like, easy people, I know what I'm doing. But it was a blast. Look, that whole front tire is under. The whole thing just went under. The back tire all went under too. And then here's my son actually digging the hole. And that was later in the afternoon, actually digging the hole. So we had to do a 4x8 by 4 feet deep hole for them to put some, overflow in. So, but we had fun with it. So
see, there's a reason that I could never do this, Deej, because if I bought something brand new, I wouldn't want to get it dirty.
Oh my God, Steve, when I got this thing out, I was like, I'm the same way, buddy. I was like, I got to get this home. And it's killing me because this thing is down the street on the property chained to a tree. And it's killing me. I've been shopping for shelters. I bought a cover for it, but that's coming in like 2 weeks. It is killing me because I'm like, I want to get it home and wash it and wax it. And when I pulled it out of that mud, this whole back tire, look, I mean, you can see it. It's all dirty. I got it out and I'm like, well, my yellow rims are all muddy. I'm like, oh no. But Steve, I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. It's
only I would buy a JCB and then not want to get it dirty.
Yeah.
But it is so much fun. It is. I've always wanted one, and I'm like, now I get to play. It's like, and all the projects I've done here at this house, it's like if I had a tractor, would have been so much faster and bigger. I had to limit myself here, but yeah. So,
did you get a good deal on it?
Yeah. Actually, the
only problem is no matter how cheap you get it, it's always going to be dear. Sorry, it's late. It's best I can do.
Yes. No, actually, they're. I'm not saying they're giving them away, but they're not cheap. But they, especially in this market, they do 0% financing, and they actually extended it for me. When I went in and they added a year on to allow me to stretch it out. And I'm like, yeah, great. And the thing about the John Deere's too, is they hold their value, and it's like, you can, when I'm done with it, just sell it and probably not have lost a dime. People love these things. And I'm like, I'm not selling it.
There's always a hole to be dug somewhere.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've already got people like, my buddy's like, my buddy Derek down the street. He's like, I'm like, let's do your driveway. Cause I got forks for it. I got a box grader for it. And I got all sorts of fun stuff. So,
but does it come with Dolby Atmos? That's what I want to know.
Actually, I put my Bose earbuds in, and the noise cancellation is fantastic. And I was listening to HT Guys, AV Rant, all of that fun stuff while I'm burying myself in the mud.
Actually, DJ, I'm not too sure there. You won't see my cursor. There's a little mark down to the right of your boot. Across there's a little black sort of mark there in the water. Are you sure that's not a salamander?
Oh, right here. Yeah, that's what I'm digging the hole for.
Wait a minute.
The damn thing. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Shut up. Oh.
It's looking dead. It's not looking happy at all.
Yeah. Carl, looks like you could use some of my civil engineering troops. No. Where's the fun in that? Nope. No, Paul. My kind of podcast now.
Yeah, he's digging a hole in his back garden.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I know. I saw Paul's pictures. He had his thing. So that's why I was like, I got to do this. But more of this to come. We're going to be doing more and more. Actually, that's pretty much my experience right now is like, I literally haven't watched anything in 2 weeks. And except last night, Joe and I caught up and finished Secret Invasion. Finally.
You should have left that.
And I actually thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Do you know what? We seem to have kind of let that go. We seem to have kind of, until right now, we haven't really talked much about Secret Invasion, have we? I mean, I haven't been back to it. I'm still 20 minutes into the first episode, and I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday who abandoned it with 2 episodes to go, and I'm not sure I'm going to go back to it, at least not anytime soon.
Not a lot of people have liked it. I mean, I enjoyed it. My son and I enjoyed it. We had fun with it. It's not the greatest thing, but it raises some stakes, of course, by it's just like anybody could be anybody, and it points out, and now anybody can have certain powers, and there's so much to it that, who knows where it goes at all. But
there was a broadsheet newspaper over here called The Guardian who were very snooty about the whole thing. They're not big fans of Marvel anyway, but they're very snooty and sniffy review about Secret Invasion. But the journalist writing the article said, how could they ruin Secret Wars like this? This is terrible. And then this was then put up on Twitter, and then there was just all these people.
It wasn't
Secret Invasion, Secret Wars, very different.
Yeah,
I was one of those people. Yes, I was one of those people going, don't really know that much about this stuff, do you?
All right. You guys want to get to, we're going to try doing 4K releases in a different way.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
If this works, this might be the way.
This is the way.
All right. Let's see what's coming on August 8th. All right, let's try this. There we go. There it is. I'll just bring it up the tab. So August
super
8th.
simple.
Yeah, August 8th. So watch this. We'll see what happens. We have Swamp Thing. Look at that. That works pretty good, right? Except for stupid.
Which I thought this was like 2 weeks ago. Didn't we talk about this 2 weeks ago?
Yes, we did.
I thought we did as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
because you guys were getting very excited about the cover and not the Swamp Thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish these,
Pop-ups are
ads,
Joker.
Pop-ups are brutal. But hey, Blu-ray's getting a shout out here, and they should be, because this is what I use all the time, Blu-ray.com, and I mean, they have this, that's what I've been using ever since, and I mention it, but yeah, so, that's why, maybe because I'm hovering on it, I don't know, it kind of disappeared for a second. There we go. Swamp Thing 4K laser collection. We talked about that, like you said before. So then we'll go back and we have Enter the Dragon. There you go, Steve.
Oh, yeah. Day one, second one. That will leap immediately to the top of my viewing pile. I'm hoping to have finished the movies in the Bruce Lee set by the time it comes out. I cannot wait for this. This is if someone says to you, choose the greatest martial arts movie of all time, this would be the one that springs to mind straight away. And it's not the best martial arts film of all time, but it is really.
Well, it's the one that set the standard, no?
Well, yeah, but you're supposed to say Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Oscar-winning martial arts movies.
Yeah,
but for me, this is the one. This is the granddaddy of them all.
But that's what exactly, because it's the one that set the standard. It's the one that started it all. It's like that's why I put Iron Man so high in the MCU. That's why I look at New Hope as Empire is a better movie, but it's a New Hope. It's like that's the one that without it, you don't get Empire, right? And the same with Iron Man. If Iron Man flops, and a lot of people forget, that was the first Marvel release by the Marvel Studios. Marvel had been out, obviously they've been around, but that's their first venture at making their own movie, Marvel Studios. If that thing goes the way of the Hulk, which came second, maybe we don't have the MCU. If everybody came home from that and thought that what they think of, Secret Invasion, we probably don't make it to what Thor came third, right, John?
I think
it was Thor came third, and then First Avenger, Captain America: First Avenger,
right?
I think, and then from there, I think we went to Iron Man 2, and then. Pretty sure that after that it was we went right into
the Avengers.
Avengers, yeah.
Yeah, that was 2012. So yeah.
You gotta start somewhere.
But this was the first crossover, though. I mean, there was the Big Boss, there was Fist of Fury, there was Way of the Dragon, there was these movies had all come out before this. But this was the first crossover. This was the one that was really designed to push Bruce Lee over the top to get 1974, I think it was. This was the one that was the big one. So it wasn't the first. It was just the first I think we all kind of experienced. Yeah, quite. And then went back and saw the others. But yeah, it's such a good film. The word classic is too reductive for this film.
Yeah.
It's not a classic. It's the classic.
Exactly.
Every frame of this movie is fantastic. Goofs and all, and there are lots of issues in it, including one where you can see Bruce Lee in the corner of the frame willing on the guys in the white pajamas to fight, and you can actually see him sort of doing that, tell him to get in there and fight.
And we're also getting
that's a nice set. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. That looks cool.
It's the Best Buy. Yeah.
Yep, I know.
Very cool.
For the audio only, we're looking at the best. Good job, John.
We're like, Best Buy.
Wow, that's so nice. People driving in their cars on Friday going, "What the f are they talking about? These donkeys got to get their heads out of their butts." We're looking at the Best Buy Steelbook of Enter the Dragon. Very stylized, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
Clearly, we're not radio hosts. Streams 4K Blu-ray.
Not familiar with this.
This is where we embarrass ourselves. It's Akira Kurosawa, and I can't say that I've seen it or heard of it.
No.
Nope.
It's a Criterion release, it looks like.
Yeah.
Criterion release with some nice pastels.
Yeah.
Pastel art.
Yeah. Not familiar.
It was from 1990. Enter the Dragon was from obviously 1973.
There's nothing else coming out there. We don't need to talk about anything else. That's fine. Nothing. Everything else is just
people.
6 different variant covers of
Fast X.
Fast X.
Yeah. It's got Groot in it.
Yeah.
If it had Groot in it, it would be more interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. I've seen it. I really enjoy it. I had a blast with it. I know, Steve, you're like, these movies to you are like horror to me. Like, you're going to make a horror movie, it's got to be done properly. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
cover looks like it's getting back to like it looks like the original. I think if you have the set of all of them, this is the one that goes with it. It's, Fast X in purple, but it looks like it's a callback to the original cover, which we all remember was in green. And let's see, and then there's another movie, the Fast X 10 movie collection.
Oh, jeez.
There you go. I mean, they tell you at the end of Fast X, there's Fast 11 coming. So if you want to buy the 10 movie collection and then add to that, for those of you out there that have not bought a single Fast and Furious movie, but feel like buying them all.
Nope. That's where I'm at. That's where my name goes down.
No.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I didn't think you were going to buy. If you haven't bought one by now.
Yeah, I haven't seen 4 through X, to be honest with you, so I don't know.
And this one, here we go. There's the image.
Ender's
for it.
Game. That's a new version.
4K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was out already, but I guess
it's
not.
been out for a long time. We've talked about it a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
Must be a new re-release.
Yeah, Best Buy exclusive Steelbook 4K.
Oh, that's what it is.
Coming
Best Buy.
on the 8th. Yeah. So there you go. And that is it for August 8th. What's coming next week? My AC just kicked on, and if you can hear it in the background, that means that StreamYard's new fancy audio filter isn't working. But it did work the other day.
Oh, I can't hear it. So
yeah, me neither.
Nice. See? It kicked on when I was recording with John Thompson last week, and I marked the time, and it came out really good. Like, I can hear it with my headphones in this room, and you can hear it just barely in the background, and then it just disappears. So it's really cool. So you don't have to worry. I kicked yours on, Steve, when you came on. I could hear your fan going or something, and then you just hear it just go away. It's so nice.
Oh, nice.
So good.
Yeah, I think it's probably the traffic outside. I've got the door windows open.
Yeah.
And every now and then some idiot who thinks he's in the Fast and Furious goes past on the road, kind of, over the back of the houses. And so that's what it's drowning out.
Nice. Want to get to a question before we take off?
Yeah, we got a few minutes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got one here. I know there's more, but like I said, I'm sorry everybody if I'm missing out on your question or comment but this just happens to be in the notes here and I didn't lose it. So this one, let's see, show this. Whoops, see, I lined it up and now it's gone.
Now it's gone.
There it goes. All right. So, Steve, you want to read that? And then when we get to the bottom, we'll scroll.
Yeah, who's this from?
VJ.
VJ. Okay, so this is
here's the end of it. See, thanks, VJ.
Oh yeah. Oh, I get you. Right. Okay. So an email by the looks of it. So from VJ, it says, "Hi DJ, John and Steve. I heard your first podcast and I must say it's great." All right, we like you already, VJ.
Yeah.
DJ, it's you being you, and that's what makes the show. Your passion and excitement for all aspects of home theatre. So kudos and thank you for all the hard work you do to make the podcast possible. I have a few questions for you guys and perhaps the listeners. So, what movies are your guilty pleasures? Movies that are corny, bad, or funny when it's not meant to be, that you just love. My one answer to this would be a collection of movies. 80s horror. I love it. And the more campy, the better. There we go. That's it.
Okay. Where are we?
So then says, I think we then says, what movies have you ever walked out of because it was so bad, or for that matter, stopped watching while streaming? I admit I never have. I usually give the benefit of the doubt, sitting there stupidly thinking it must get better at some point, right? Movies that the first time viewing you did not like, but happened to catch later at some point and love it now. How long have you got, VJ? The few I can think of are Pulp Fiction, True Lies. I love these now. And the flip side of the last question. Yeah. And flip side of the last question, any movies you absolutely love and upon revisiting it doesn't hold up for you anymore? Thanks, VJ.
I got answers for
33 questions in there, Deesh.
I've got answers for most of them too, actually.
Yeah. So let's go to the first one. We'll go back to the first one first. Mm-hmm. So what movies are your guilty pleasures? Movies that are corny, bad, or funny when it's not meant to be, that you just love it. So what do you got?
Beastmaster.
Nice.
Love it.
Oh my God. So good. That's funny.
Kodo and Podo.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh,
It's
wow.
such a bad movie, but I love it.
I know, but oh my God. All right, Steve.
One that you've both ordered recently, Bloodsport.
Okay.
Surely.
There you go.
Surely.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I mean, within that you could put Roadhouse, but Bloodsport, I think, is a recent one that we've talked about. In fact, just about any Van Damme movie.
mine, anytime somebody asks me this, and it's like, it literally is one of the founding reasons of the word bright side and John and I doing this. Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely love that movie. It is, I know a lot of people are like, it's just horrible. And I'm like, no, in a theater, because they utilize the sonar so well. They use everything. I absolutely love that movie. And that's one of the movies John and I talked about when we were first talking about this, when I was down at his place in Texas. And I was like Daredevil. It's not perfect, but it's so much fun. It's a comic book movie. Let's have fun. And I love that movie. So,
the director's cut, presumably.
yes.
Because the director's cut is actually a solid film. The theatrical one's weird.
Yeah.
But the director's cut's really good. Yeah. Definitely recommend that.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What was the next one? What
Okay,
movies have you ever walked out of because it was so bad, or that matter what? Stop watching while streaming.
The Mummy. It's the
Nice.
only movie I ever.
Right.
It's the only
What do I
movie I
throw?
ever walked out of.
Yeah.
Ever.
Boo.
Streaming, I stopped watching streaming movies all the time. I couldn't even name them all.
John's like, we're on a time crunch here, John.
I get 20 minutes in. If I don't like it, I just turn it off.
right. There's too much good stuff out there.
Yeah. I know, Steve.
I mean-
we've talked about The Mummy, but famously for me, it's the only movie I've ever paid money for and walked out of.
Oh,
so
man. Yeah, well, I'm with Lydia on this one.
yeah, she loves it.
Yeah, good on her.
funny.
Better play to her. I've walked out of a number over the years, but I haven't done for a long time. The one that springs to mind was Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I walked out of that because I just had enough of it. But I've watched it since, and again, we'll talk about that in a minute. And it's at least watchable.
John,
but I
how
walked
did
out
I
of that.
know that the man that's like blocks everything is going to have a list for this
Yeah.
question?
It's been a while,
John and I
though.
are like, there's one. I've got one answer, and it's as clear as day. And Steve's literally over there.
How
like,
long have you
Let
got?
me-
Yeah, toilet
You can
roll.
How do I choose?
we get to like, what movie have you ever
He's
walked
picking the
out of?
petals
And
off the
Steve's over there
flowers,
like,
trying to
all
figure
right,
out which one.
I'm sorry, guys. Where did I leave off? Oh yeah, let me see.
Chapter
Number
4.
62.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other one that springs to mind, and this is where I get into trouble, is I walked out of Get Shorty.
Oh,
I know. See, told you. I've never seen it since. This was on theatrical release. I walked out. But I know that I did not get it. It was not the film I thought it was going to be. But I've never seen it since. I walked out of it, and obviously the one I wish I'd walked out
it
of was
was
The Fifth
midget
Element.
bowling movie or something.
Fifth Element.
Yes. Well, I had no idea. I didn't know. I just thought it was going to be something else. Whatever it was a long time ago, but I did walk out of that.
Did you see the sequel to it? Be Cool?
Get Shortier.
No, Be Cool. It's called Be Cool.
No,
It's same
no.
cast, and then they added in Dwayne Johnson and some other people. But I love them both.
I think I'd probably quite like it if I saw it now. But then it was just not the movie I thought it was. And yeah,
So
I was with a friend of mine. We used to go to the cinema every Friday night, and we both walked out. Just like, no.
So
there
mine
you go.
is I've never walked out of a movie, but the only movie I've ever returned, and I've talked about it here,
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stallone's Judge Dredd. I watched the Laserdisc, put it back in its sleeve, and went back to Dave's and said, "This is awful," and he gave me my money back. Well, let me buy something else.
Yeah.
And you just don't do that. But I bought so much stuff from him. He's like, "All right," but it's the only movie I've ever returned. So
I'm getting grief.
hopeless, Steve. There you go.
Hopeless.
But
Let
it's
me
honest.
see what we got here. Do we have any other?
Yeah, so movies
Any
that
other
the
comments?
first few didn't like, but happened to catch later at some point and love
Oh,
it
yeah.
now. I mean, that's one I couldn't begin to answer the sheer number of movies.
You know mine, Steve.
Yes. Remind me.
Invisible Man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that was the beginning of our blossoming relationship. I didn't like it. My wife and I watched it one day. It was, I think it was like right when COVID hit and everybody was home. And my wife and I watched it and I was just like, this is ridiculous. And I still see my perspective on it, and I can see, and I think you did too. But then when you put that in perspective for me, I was like, this is amazing. I was like, it's an awesome story. It's a sad story, but when you put it in perspective and stop thinking like a, stupid man, get your man brain put away, and you look at it through a woman's perspective, and especially in that situation, oh my God, that's one of my favorite movies now. And I hated it.
Yeah. And just to explain for those that have come along since, because that was years ago, is that the idea is that Elizabeth, I can't think of her surname again, it's gone blank. Not Shu. She's in the Paul Verhoeven Hollow Man, funny enough. But the Invisible Man, Elizabeth, not Mason. Is it Elizabeth Mason? I might have got it wrong. Anyway,
she's.
But yeah, so she is a pitch perfect portrayal of a domestic violence victim. Yeah, she doesn't. She feels she is to blame, and she's been coercively controlled. She thinks that she is the victim in all of this, and she is. And so if you approach it from that, the portrayal of someone in that situation is absolutely incredible. And that's the kind of and again, the reason I had that perspective is because I've dealt with many perpetrators of these acts, not invisible people, but perpetrators of these sorts of acts, and have dealt with many victims of them as well. And in that respect, it is absolutely incredible how it's done. And I really like the movie anyway, but that gives a different spin on that kind of portrayal, and it's why she's scared to escape, and it's why she feels that responsible, and she feels guilty for what has happened to her, even though she should not have done. It's a classic archetype of someone who's been subjected to this sort of behavior. But yeah, it's a really good film. I mean, as I said, I've got millions of different versions of this. It is very common for me to dislike a movie first time I see it, watch it again and enjoy it. The one
Tune in next week.
Yeah, well, quite. But the one that I hated and I've never gone back to it, of course, we all know, is The Fifth Element, and that is a movie that will live in infamy. Not just December 7th, 1941.
Well, for me, I'm with VJ. Pulp Fiction.
Really?
Didn't enjoy it the first time I watched it. Didn't understand like the hype. Everybody was talking about it. I saw it in the theater when it was
season 1.
Yeah, but I saw it in the theater when it was like the thing that everybody was talking about, and I really didn't get it. Watched it on HBO or whatever. A few months later, and of course, I love it. I've seen it. Don't even know how many times I've seen this movie. It Shawshanks me every time. Whatever point of the movie it is, I'll sit and finish it. Love it. But yeah, I
John,
didn't
would you
get
give
it.
me a foot rub?
just so that I can rest my brain.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
Right. So Jordan Carpenter, yes, it's Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
I've got no answer for the last one. I don't have
and I
one
think
of those.
DJ and I might have the same answer.
Oh, Conan.
Conan the Barbarian. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely loved it.
We were so excited.
I was so disappointed. I never want to watch it again because I don't want to go back and revisit movies that I liked as a kid because
I know.
I'm afraid I won't like them anymore.
I'm like, James Earl Jones looks different to me now.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I was like,
but yeah.
What was the scene with him strapped to like the tree in the desert or whatever, and it's like, I think you made the comment like that's what I felt like I was doing watching this movie. It's like,
oh yeah, and the transformation, the transformation to the snake is so bad. It's
oh my god!
Oh my god!
The special effects I use through StreamYard are better.
But yeah, I remember just loving that movie. But
I think we
Yeah,
should.
I haven't got an answer for it.
On a high note.
What's that? You don't have an answer?
No, I don't. The only one that I fear fear to the point where I won't buy it and I won't watch it again is Krull, which we talked about a couple of weeks back.
Right, because I've only seen that once, and I remember really liking it. But I can see where it might be really bad.
Quite. And I thought it was a glaive and all the rest of it looked really cool. And
I saw that in the theaters.
Really liking it. Yeah. So it's out here on a special edition Blu-ray, but I cannot bring myself to buy it because I just think it'll be dreadful.
I'd rather have the memory of it.
Yeah, exactly. I remember it being great.
Oh yeah. I mean, we could just be BSing our way through and saying.
I don't think I'll ever watch Beastmaster again either.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it in 25 years.
You know, another one that would you revisit Clash of the Titans?
I have.
Ooh,
and that still holds up for me. It still holds up for me. Yeah, I like it.
That was great in the 80s.
Yeah. I've seen it fairly recently, actually. I bought the Blu-ray set a few years ago, and it still holds up. I like it. It's corny, but yeah.
Yeah.
And the special effects are not great there either, but yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it's on constant rotation here. It's always been shown on TV here.
Is it?
I think it's great. Yeah. Again, the stop motion animation though, maybe it is corny and it's thing, but it was so good at the time.
Right. Isn't that
the Medusa, well, in Calibos too. There's that scene where he's like, flipping the whip at somebody, and it just looks so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I guess it's at Perseus, right? He's fighting in the whip, and it looks horrible. but it's still great.
Yeah. Oh man, great comment, great questions, VJ.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was awesome. Yeah. Going forward, I think that's we're gonna do it like this. I think. I'm actually, while we're sitting here, I think I'm going to try to streamline something else too for images. But yeah, get questions, comments, great questions like that. I mean, those are going to be, because I honestly, I mean, I want to recognize everybody. I read everything. And I'm actually, if I had the time, I'd love to get John on there, and then we can all share in them and I can forward them to you. Actually, John, I can just forward them to your other one, right?
Yeah.
I should just start doing that when we get emails. I'll just forward and then we'll all talk about them. And if there's something you guys want to bring up, but, great questions like that, we'll definitely do that. And of course, if you, buy a box of popcorn and you have a question or something, it gets to the front of the show. And Patreon support, greatly appreciated. As I said, it's like, I mean, obviously, I'm going to work my ass off to get this stuff out to you guys anyways, as I have the last couple days. But yeah, it's, I mean, I love doing this, and John knows very well because, DJ's just going to plug away. He's going to force himself to do it. But yeah, so thank you to everybody that has been supporting us, all our Patreon supporters, everybody that's bought us a box of popcorn. We'll talk next week. Lots more. You guys, I think you two are going to be taking the home theater experiences, and I'm going to be building one with a house on top of it. with
Here's this week's puddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whole of the week.
Yeah. Here's where I got stuck in the mud this week.
Yeah. No, wait till the power equipment starts going. Did I ever show you my scar from my chainsaw? No. So I've shot myself with nail guns. I've almost cut my arm off. Oh, this is going to be fun, boys.
Should you be building this, Deej?
Yeah.
Should you be building this?
Probably not.
Is there going to be bright side obituaries this week?
All they do when you go to build a house is they give you basically a colonoscopy of credit checks, and but they don't care about your brain.
Right.
They really don't. It's just like
they don't ascertain your skill level or whether you can actually pull it off.
Nope. Just do you have the money to screw up? All right. Yeah. Okay. And I don't. That's why I'm doing it myself. But it's gonna be fun. And as I said, I can't remember what I did with it. Oh, there it is, boys. That's the envelope that I talked about in the pie. I don't know if you guys heard it. So in here are the plans my rough sketch of what the theater's going to look like. It's got the name of the new theater. It's already been named. And a few other things in there. I can't remember what.
You're supposed to wait till it's done and smash a bottle on the side and give it a name. You can't name it.
You break the screen.
Before you build it.
I've been working
Throw
on
a bottle at the screen.
when you see that's the thing is I've got visions in my head that I try to nail when
Sugar plums?
as you go. Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be fun. Can't wait. Hoping by March. We're thinking that's a good estimation, and that includes the theater too, because my wife's actually pushing for that too. Not one of these like typically you'd build your house and then like when we did this, you do it later. Right. But my wife really wants everything all at once, so that once we're in, she's like, "You can stop."
Yeah.
Like, well, I don't know about that, but okay. So thanks to everybody for following along. Questions, comments, send them on in. We'll be back next week. Next Tuesday, I sit down with, if all goes well, we haven't recorded it yet, but Danny Speakers and I are going to be chatting. I'm sure he's going to have a few questions about the new property and the new theater. But if you want to join me on a Takeover Tuesday, just email me at dj@brightsidehometheater.com. And any questions, anything about the new theater, I'll answer anything. You might not like the answer, but I'll answer anything. and like I said before, push me. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me something's wrong. Tell me I'm doing something wrong. I got reasons for everything, including having these two jamokes. All right. What do we got to do?
Go push play.
What he said.
Oh, sounds so good. It's been 2 weeks. Hey, Fred.
This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.